Saturday, December 1st, 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 2018. Guys, as most of you know, there was a large earthquake event that's still underway near the Anchorage, Alaska area. It started out as a 7.0 earthquake, then a 5.8 aftershock near Anchorage, and from then, the earthquakes have been pretty much non-stop. Even as I do this video, there were 580 earthquakes in a 24-hour period. But if you watch the earthquakes yesterday as they were unfolding on the USGS map, you noticed an obvious trend in these earthquakes. They weren't right to left and then to the south and then back to the right. There was a very steady, obvious trend to the north with regard to these earthquakes. And I noticed it after about the fifth one. They were just steadily moving to the north. And here's another look at the direction they were headed. And that direction is towards the North Pole. Right up here, towards the geographic and the magnetic north. That's the direction that these earthquakes were moving in. Not right to left or towards Siberia or towards Canada, directly towards the North Pole. And there's been over 600 earthquakes and counting. And the damage is quite extensive, especially to the infrastructure and roads. You can see here at adn.com, this is out of Anchorage. This road here, or at least this section of road, the ground underneath it, if you look at it, almost looks like it twisted clockwise to the right, like you see here. These were going towards the north, and maybe this ground twisted to the right. I don't know, but I noticed something else unusual on the seismographs too that has to do with the South Pole. So I'm going to show that to you here in just a second, but I'll take a look at some more maps here at adn.com. This one here, the initial quake right here, and then the aftershocks. As you can see here, they trended straight north. Not over here to the right, to the left, straight north. It was an undeniable trend. And there were so many earthquakes. I did a quick video from my earthquake app, and I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's 4 minutes long. Between 10:30 a.m. yesterday and 4:30 a.m. today, there were 580 earthquakes near Anchorage, Alaska, and you can see the trend from south to north. Well, you wouldn't know it by looking at it, but I watched this event unfold. Here's the list of earthquakes in my earthquake app, and the reason I'm showing you this is after the initial 7.0, these earthquakes have been occurring at a rate of about 1 every 5 to 10 minutes, non-stop for over 24 hours now. But this video goes on for 4 minutes. It's just a list of all of these earthquakes, their depth, and the time and date. And as you can see, 11:15, 11:17, 11:19, 11:20, 11:21, they're very close together. Most of the aftershocks have been in the 4 and 3 range. Occasionally, a 5 will come through. In fact, there's a 5.1 there at Big Lake, Alaska, and that's to the north of the initial 7.0, and they were trending to the north, anywhere from 19 to 30 miles in depth. But I want to show you something that I noticed with regard to the seismographs. Here's a good example of what the seismographs sense when we see energy on the seismos that looks like this. This is a primary wave and then secondary waves. What you're seeing here, this energy below, is a 6.3 earthquake from Indonesia just a few hours ago. This is energy from the 7.0 up in Anchorage, Alaska. The energy goes through the earth like this. This is a simulation of the energy. This is from Iris Earthquake CI. Watch the energy as it rolls through North America. And that's the epicenter, and there's the energy that's detected by the seismographs. And you can see it rolling through North America towards the equator, right? And once again, I want to emphasize the epicenter is way up here near Anchorage, Alaska. And the energy went to the north and then obviously to the south. And the primary wave energy is going to be stronger closest to the epicenter, right? Well, that's what common logic would tell us. Well, here are the seismographs, and this is showing the energy from yesterday's earthquake right here, as it's almost rolled off the charts because it occurred nearly 24 hours ago at the time I opened up this page. This energy here is the 6.3 earthquake down near Indonesia. But look at the consistent pattern with regard to the 7.0 near Anchorage. And that's the energy you see here at the top, right? It's all pretty consistent except for right here. It's much, much bigger. And that is a huge spike that none of these other areas have. Missouri, it's pretty consistent with Oregon. Oregon is much closer to Anchorage, Alaska than Casey, Antarctica. But look at the difference. See the difference in the seismos? Antarctica felt a much stronger primary wave than Oregon. And Oregon's pretty much right down the street compared to Antarctica. So why all the energy in Antarctica? And not only in Casey, but there's another place that showed that this was not some sort of an error. This is a South Pole Observatory here. Earth Science Observatory. It's got a seismograph. Look at the big wave of energy. Much bigger than you see anywhere else. In Antarctica, and there's another one in Antarctica, Scott Base in Antarctica. Big spike in the energy that you don't see in Greenland. You don't see it in South Dakota. You see a little bit of energy that's stronger in South Dakota, but not like in Antarctica. Antarctica, it's still quite large. Look, it's still off the charts. When everything else is about to roll off the charts, it stays on here for 24 hours. This is still on the charts. That's a very big signature. You can see this energy here from the earthquake just a few hours ago near Indonesia. That's in the Philippines. That's very common. That's what it should look like. But why all the energy in Antarctica associated with the 7.0 in Alaska? You see what I'm getting at? Here it's even showing up down in Western Australia. Big primary wave of energy. So for some reason the energy was detected at the South Pole as these earthquakes, if you watched the event yesterday, were trending towards the North Pole. Is it a coincidence? I don't know. Does it have something to do with a possible pole shift event? Could be, I suppose. I don't know. I've never been here during a pole shift event. But anyway, these earthquakes were trending to the north. There was a lot of energy, for whatever reasons, trending to the south, in the South Pole. So it makes you wonder, could it have been something to do with the pole shift event? I don't know. Maybe it was part of this whole process. There's a lot of earthquakes here in this area and a lot of damage to the infrastructure. Luckily, no one was seriously hurt. I think there was one person hurt that was trying to put out a fire to their home. There was a lot of power outages, and I think there's still power outages and a lot of infrastructure damage, especially roads. Got some pictures here that were sent in to me by Phill from the area, and you can see this road here. It's going to take a long time to get that back up to where it's even usable. There's another picture here of another road that the ground underneath just simply gave way. One of the roads looks like it's twisted. This is a common scene in grocery stores during large earthquake events. The shelves lose their goods almost every single time, especially if it's above 6.5 or 7. This store here looks like a department store where the windows have fallen out and the stone on the front has fallen off, and you can see a big pile of rubble there. This is another picture of a road collapse, and a car was in the center of this big sinkhole that formed and is sitting on a concrete island. Very strange. Never even seen a picture even close to that. I think this is the same event here, just from a slightly different angle. And here's another road that gave way. The ground underneath just simply collapsed. And of course the road went down with it. But if you look here at the news website adn.com, I'll have it posted below in the description box. It's where I showed you the primary wave energy from the initial earthquake, the 7.0. If you look at this picture here from straight above, this was probably taken from a chopper or a drone or something. You can see the ground underneath this road looks like it clearly twisted clockwise to the right. Very obvious. The road up here moved to the right. Down here it moved to the left. So it almost looks like the ground underneath twisted clockwise, and all of the earthquakes were trending to the north as they unfolded after this 7.0, And for some reason, seismographs down in Antarctica showed stronger signatures than they did in Oregon. Don't know, guys. It's just an observation that I found interesting, and I found it worth sharing. Thanks for watching. Have a super day, and be safe out there.